entities become more trustworthy.
That's what you want. They need one.
Yeah.
They do,
Blueberry bushes we planted, trees.
You have.
where they used to,
Don't shoot them in Jack.
now, I don't know.
I just dumped them out in current.
So when you have to add.
Right by the ball, or right in the
That's what I'm saying, you're talking.
But yeah, I don't know who's
Yeah.
You probably look at it, I don't. If you look at it later, I'm sure he's thinking about it once or something, but just mention it to him. More like official than that, don't I?
Yeah. You know what I mean, it might be a consideration, and I mean, since we're that close, but, it might be, and we can ask Todd about that too. It's of course, yeah, yep.
We ready?
Mike's?
Start the working session.
Lynn's on.
What?
Point out to the back row.
I can do it too.
Lynn.
You guys gonna chat in the back row the whole meeting?
So that's happening.
Coming from you, that doesn't quite.
Oh, he's got the microphone this time.
What do you, how does he, is that just the specific of this?
Oh, I don't know.
Say
It's the
something
way we're
again.
talking.
Like sing something.
Testing 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4.
He's the voice of God today.
Uh-huh.
There you go. You hear
I thought that was my hearing aids. Oh my God, it probably is. They're new ones though. God, that is loud. Yeah. I'm in stereo now with my phone. I can put them on. I'm walking around. Johanna loves to put like on YouTube this trashy music. Turns it up and she hits it and it's like.
And on that note, we'll start the working session.
Thank you.
First thing up, looks like citizens forum, potentially Roy Sandstrom. Going once, going twice. Moving on. Reports, board committees, the policy committee. We didn't meet.
Nope.
Okay, that was easy. School forest committee.
I was not there.
We did meet. And what did we talk about? Education efforts for the fall. I think Bobby Joe's putting together kind of a half-hour session. Is that right? Kind of introductory
Yep, and
session.
we'll be looking with staff development how we can fit that in.
Seth was there for his first kind of, yeah. And what are your board chair now, or committee chair? So
Yeah.
that was quick. Congratulations.
He's in the role for 4 days and he gets a committee chairmanship.
First meeting.
Yeah. And next month, I think our goal is to get a map of the school grounds and do some walking around and looking at some potential tree planting sites for next spring. So we identify those now and get our planning in place for the spring. So it's kind of
Did we talk, was it at the last school board meeting? I think there are white spruces along County Road 3 in the ditch. Were somebody gonna look at digging those up? Do you want to do that? The road's closed right now, so if you want to do it, go for it.
I'm not sure there's any takers on that.
Okay.
Speaking of those white spruce,
Spring, maybe.
Brent, have you looked out there? I look at the ones we planted behind the ballpark. They look good. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we lost at one. I don't think. I was there. I didn't go tonight, but yeah.
Yeah, I checked on them just before the 4th, and they were doing pretty good then, so I was kind of worried it was getting dry.
Yeah, well, it was close. Yeah. Reed, when does the guy come to hay that over here? The one partial down to the south here, when did?
I'm not sure when he'll be ready. I'm not sure when it's dry, they won't rot it up, they'll go in there and hay it.
Okay. Will we need to mention him not to hay this again, the other side of the road,
Yeah,
or?
they're aware of that.
What's that?
They're aware of that.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
And then the other piece on that school forest, it's
started eliminating a few of them. Reed and I went out there and spent about a day and a half, 2 days walking it, and then we went out and brush hogged all the trails out there and got it, everything's passable, cut the trees out. It really looks good out there now.
Right, excellent. Anything else from School Forest? We'll move on to finance.
We took our first look at the long-range financial plan, the 5-year projections. Still have some work to do on that, and we talked about Todd coming up and meeting with Jeff and Crystal, as well as them meeting with the Finance Committee before we complete that. So just had some questions, and we all want to have a good understanding of that, so.
We'll move along to Superintendent Elementary Principal Jeff Nelson.
Okay, you got a clip of papers, and the first one, it's in order, so. The first one is a draft for the Superintendent Performance Evaluation Form 1. And I've highlighted the main concept for each section. This is what we used for my last evaluation. I'm just going to ask the board to take some time in the next few days to go through it, and if you feel there's something missing that we need to add, we can look at that, or if you think there's some things in here that are not pertainable to our school district or our situation, if you can email that to me within the next couple days, then I will clean it up, and then we'll get it out to everyone. You have to let me know if you're okay with it electronically, or I can print it off and mail it to you. My goal would be if we can, by the August board meeting, we could complete my evaluation formally at the board meeting in August.
Okay.
Is that what we did it last year in August, or was that July? Was it earlier than that?
I think in my growth plan, it was July was the month that we had targeted, so
Okay.
I'm getting it to you in July, so that's.
We're better than we
getting
were
better.
last year, right?
And while you're looking at this, I mean, if you're good to go with it, what I will also send out to everyone is I will go through what we did last year, what we came up as far as different goals that we set for me. And we have indicators and evidence, and I will go in under each section, and we'll have the evidence, and I'll summarize if I, what I did and for each of those sections.
So like a goal update, so we
So
can,
an update, this is what I did during the 18-19 year, or what I didn't do over that year, so then you'll have feedback on that. And I think in the past, there's been a subcommittee of the board that board chair would collect the surveys from everyone, and a couple of you would kind of go through it and summarize it, and then a small group would come together and look at adjusting the goals and stuff for me, and then that would be presented to the whole board in August.
and
Okay, any questions on that?
And then, once we adopt the strategic plan, then those goals automatically become your goals,
It should all
right?
tie in together. There might be some things you want me to work on that are not
Right,
directly
right,
linked, but a bulk of it there should be some goals in here that are tied to the strategic plan. And there already is
Right.
in the current plan, so we might just want to adjust that a little bit to where we're at with that. Do you want to establish who wants to do the evaluation meeting with me, so I know who to communicate with? Do we want to
Okay,
figure out who wants to do that, or?
that's something we can figure out right now, or?
Last
We
year,
won't do
did the Education Minnesota group do that? The
The certified staff,
staff
or the certified
Yeah.
negotiation team is what did
What-
my evaluation.
did it last year, so.
And we can do that again, or we can mix it up however you guys want to do it.
Could be fine, let's have some continuity to it anyway.
Yeah.
Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Yeah.
That
Okay.
makes sense to me.
Okay.
But do we want to add the board chair to that? Because he was not part of that last year.
I'd leave that up to you if you want to be part of it. I don't think that there's a have to be part of it.
I don't know, think there's worthwhile,
It's up to you, that's a committee of 4 then. So,
Yeah.
running into.
Yeah, it's a fairly good-sized committee then.
Right, then
Would
we
you
run
have to
into problems if we all
post
meet
that
at the
then?
same time.
Yeah.
Because you'd have four
posted.
board, yeah, you'd have four.
Or you have one less. Most instances, the chair is involved with the superintendent. I think in
Okay.
most districts.
And last year Jeff was a chair, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You wanna do that, since Robin's absent anyway, but she would be the new member, you wanna be that step-in person?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll pick a date and.
All right,
Okay.
fair enough, okay. Next part in your handout, and I have it on the screen behind you, is the strategic plan presentation. The first page in your packet is the actual, this is what will go out to the public. And then the next one, you have the presentation. And I'll be referring, I won't go into great depth into the engagement activities results, just for sake of time. But I will touch on that briefly, as well as the final draft working document, which is a mirror to what this is. It's in a different form. And it does include action plan considerations that are not included in the public format. And those are the handouts that go with the presentation. Okay. So why did we go through the strategic planning in the end of May, right before graduation and the end of the school year? Well, there's a legal aspect to it, and that's the statute that requires the board to set goals. And a big part of that law is related to the world's best workforce. Also, having a strategic plan builds a strong school board and superintendent relationship by clearly stating expectations for school district operations. It should and will have a direct impact on my evaluation and goals in the future. It provides clarity and focus for school district staff. A lot of the time the staff will tell you that it feels like we're going in 100 different directions, and a lot of times we are. But the strategic plan really needs to help us kind of focus on what's really important, what's a priority, and what direction do we need to be going. It also drives the school district to continually improve in the pursuit of excellence, enables performance monitoring and evaluation, and ensures that the school board speaks for the community and helps guarantee alignment between community values and school operations. One of the things that Jeff and Terry Quist, Jeff Olson, Terry Quist from SBA, talked about was the board governance model. And I highlighted the top section of this up here, because this is really with the development of the strategic plan. We're operating up in this part of it, and that's the board adopting policies, adopting goals, and evaluating the school overall. And you'll see at the end when we go into the next steps, we'll actually be moving down to the bottom part, and I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. Some terminology. Vision statement is more about becoming. It is where the school district sees itself in the future. What kind of school system do we aspire to be? Our mission statement is more about doing. It's what the school district wants to accomplish. It tells something about the purpose of the school district. It answers the question, what results and for whom? And then our belief statements are intended to communicate what the district stands for and on what principles it operates. The process that we used, we did perception surveys, and they were available April 23rd through May 17th for staff and stakeholders to provide feedback on strengths and needs of the district. And there is reports on the number of people that participated. For example, the internal stakeholder survey, we had 27 people identified as teachers that took the survey. 18 of the staff identified as support staff, and 1 person identified as administration. The external stakeholder survey, we had 40 people that completed the survey that identified themselves as parents. We had 23 identified as community members, 11 identified as staff, 2 identified as a business owner, and we had 2 students. The listening session, and that was held with Jeff and Terry, and that involved students, administration, staff, school board, and community members, and that was held throughout the day on May 15th. And we had 9 students that did a listening session with them, 8 administration supervisors, 37 staff members, 3 school board members, and we had 1 community member come in. And then we had 3 planning meetings. We had one on the 16th of May, and that focused on the visioning related activities. The second planning was on May 22nd, and that included the state of the school report, stakeholder engagement summary, and environmental scan. And the final meeting was on the 23rd of May, and that's where we kind of concluded with the writing of our goals, objectives, indicators, and measures of progress. Results, we have 8 belief statements, a mission statement, a vision statement, 7 focus areas that were identified from the stakeholder survey and information, and we have goals and objectives for each of the focus areas. Here are our belief statements. We believe that collaboration between home, school, and community has a positive impact on each student. We believe that all learners should be offered an education developed to meet their individual needs. We believe that trust, compassion, and open communication are hallmarks of an excellent educational community. We believe that every human being is unique, has worth, value, and deserves respect. We believe that students can learn and excel when they are engaged socially, emotionally, academically, and physically. We believe in doing the right thing, in the right way, at the right time, even when no one is aware. We believe in providing the highest quality of education possible with continuous improvement. We believe in being dedicated to our students, committed to their learning, and invested in their future. Our mission statement, the mission of Lake of the Woods Public School, is to ensure that all learners achieve their highest potential, become contributing citizens in a rapid changing world. Our vision is to be a premier school district that inspires and prepares all learners to thrive today and excel. Our focus areas, one of our focus areas is student achievement. We have 2 goals. The first goal is we will achieve the goals of the world's best workforce for all students in the school on an annual basis. And it states what the annually evaluate the success of meeting the 5 goals of the world's best workforce. And this is partially in place. We do have a committee and we haven't gone through that process, but we have improvements to make to that process as well. Our second goal under student achievement, we will ensure that the school district outperforms comparable school districts on all measures of academic proficiency. By July 2020, establish and implement a curriculum review cycle to ensure that the curriculum meets required state standards. 2.2, use the curriculum review cycle to annually align curriculum standards to the instructional practices and assessment for pre-K through 12. 2.3, by July 2021, establish an ongoing process to use assessment results to inform and improve instruction and student performance on all measures of academic proficiency. And we did kind of start this process because when the World's Best Workforce Committee did meet, our second meeting, we did bring in some comparable data from other districts. So we are kind of looking at comparing ourselves to similar districts and making sure that we're showing that we're just as good, if not better, I guess. Under student support, goal 3 is we will develop and implement a sustainable support system that enables all learners to achieve. Objectives 3.1, by July 2022, fully implement programs in the areas of MTSS and trauma-informed schools and regularly assess their effectiveness in meeting the needs of all students. 3.2, by July 2022, create and implement a plan to increase mental health supports and services to meet identified student needs. And 3.3, by July 2022, establish and put in place a school community partnership to support academic, social, emotional needs of students in the school district. And some of this stuff is in different areas of implementation. I think we're just got back from MTSS Institute with a team, and we've started looking at these objectives already and how that goes into our MTSS plan. So some of this stuff is already being started. Under finance, we developed a 5-year financial plan focused on meeting the goals and objectives of the strategic plan. Objectives 4.1, continue to monitor the budget to ensure that the school district annually meets the budget reserve goal set by the school district. We're not quite up to our 25% by policy, so that's something we have to accomplish first. Let's get our reserve back up to 25%. Objective 4.2, by July 2019, implement a 5-year budget projection plan. We did present that today to the Finance Committee. It's in rough draft form and needs more development, but it's starting.
On its way.
It's on its way. 4.3, annually research and implement ways to raise revenue for the school district. 4.4, by July 2023, develop and implement tools to meet local needs in attracting families and students to the school district. Facilities, we will create a long-range facility improvement and maintenance plan that is efficient, cost-effective, and provides for the needs of the community. Objective 5.1, annually update and implement a 10-year capital improvement plan. That's, I think we've been doing that for 3 or 4 years now. Annually update and implement the long-term facility maintenance plan. Well, not the capital improvement plan, I misread that. We have not, we had that set up, a 5-year capital.
We have a 5-year, which we just did this year.
Yep.
We
So
did
we-
submit a 10-year to the state, right?
LTF.
A year ago or 2 years ago?
There's two plans here. One is a capital improvement plan. We have a 5-year one in place. And then there's the LTFM, and that's a 10-year one that we do every year, we renew it. And that's the one we just did. So we'll have to look at 10-year versus 5-year. Objective 5.3, by July 2023, implement a plan to assess the current facility for opportunities to improve instructional areas, quiet space, small group space, flexible space, efficient use of space, and use of space for revenue generation. And we do a little bit of that. We rent out some bus room, and we have a room for the 4-H program. Focus area for climate, culture, and communication. The goal for goal number 6, we will create and maintain a school climate and culture that promotes and builds positive relationships among and between all stakeholders of the community. Objective, 6.1, by July 2020, develop and implement plans to communicate the district's noteworthy educational programs and accomplishments of the school's students and staff through multiple communication methods. 6.2, by July 2022, develop and implement a plan to promote positive and dignified communication skills, including reading, writing, speaking, and listening, measuring progress through PBIS, surveys, and community feedback. Goal number 7, under academic program, we will provide a relevant, high quality, and inclusive curriculum to ensure that all learners will have the skills and knowledge to compete in a global society. 7.1 objective, annually improve and expand the learning opportunity through the integration of real-life projects, the use of flexible learning practices, and the implementation of varied career pathways tailored to the interests and abilities of each learner. 7.2, by January 2020, establish a diverse committee charged with developing a plan to expand learning opportunities in the areas of life, readiness, and career and technical education. And 7.3, by 2023, Develop and implement a plan to engage and partner with community and alumni for continued academic support and relevant resources. And finally, focus area for Goal 8. We will, in partnership with area businesses and organizations, create and implement a comprehensive plan to recruit, develop, grow, retain high-quality employees to meet the needs of the school district and the community. 8.1 objective, by July 2021, implement a plan to provide all employees with appropriate evaluation of job performance, feedback, and tools and resources to best perform their duties. And by July 2023, establish a formal process to collaborate with local and regional businesses, organizations, to create and enhance workforce opportunities. So next steps is over the next year and beyond is my job is to work with staff to develop plans, implement them, monitor, and then report back to the board. That was a whole lot in a relatively short time. Any questions? One thing I failed to mention is we had, I think, 18 to 21 people at each of the planning sessions. And that involved some board members and a lot of community members. We had a nice mix of people from our community. Questions?
I just would like to comment that I thought the process went quite well. And it was really good to have a good mix of people there.
Yep.
Are we going to incorporate this into, like they talked about regular meetings, just making sure we keep this, that we use this?
Yes, my next step, like I said, a number of things have already been started, and some things are kind of in different stages. One thing I plan on doing is developing an action plan format for each of the focus areas for some action planning, and in there it will be when we will report what to the board. You know, 'cause some things like the world's best workforce, that's an annual thing that should be happening in the fall of the year. You know, so there'll be pieces of it that are already in place, and then we'll look at what's not being reported and set time and things for when that gets done. So, also we talked about, you know, the belief statements and looking at ways that we can put that out in the building and in the community, you know, so that this doesn't just become a piece of paper that you stick in a binder and say, oh, we did that, let's move on to something else. So it's always going back to this and things that we're doing with staff development or buildings and grounds, you know, where does that fit into our strategic plan is always the question that I'll have for staff and committees.
I think that was the discussion, was the belief statement specifically was trying to get this out in the community so people are aware of what's going on in the strategic plan. So if we don't live up to what we're talking about, at least it gets addressed or brought up.
Yep.
And then secondly, this has been 18 years since this has been done, something like that? Is that 2002?
Something like that.
So there would be an expectation that every 10 years now we probably redo that, right? And that's sort of what they were discussing, time frame?
I think
5
it was
years.
5.
Was it 5
They do
years?
an update.
Yep. In fact, when I submitted some of the dates, I met with a couple committees to come up with some of the dates, because if you don't set a date, you don't get it done. And they asked me to go back and adjust it, because they reminded me that this isn't a 2 or 3 year plan, it's a 5-year plan. So always giving us the step back and make sure that we understand it's a 5-year plan, and it's gonna be bumps along the way, and we might have to reassess things and change things, you know, to fit what's happening at the time.
Yeah, and I would think that it would be, that your action steps would be updated every year.
Yep,
you
yep.
know,
And I
or
think
maybe more often.
yep, and probably a yearly report
least
on our
every
strategic plan, and just kind of an update on each of the things I just went over, what we've done during the year and where we're at.
Yeah,
And
I think I would encourage a little bit more often than that, at least twice a year, if not 4 times a year. It's just too easy. Even if you report that nothing has been done, it's better to do that than to not have it on the agenda and kind of let it get lost.
Okay. So we're looking like quarterly updates?
Yeah, can you combine that with the world's best workforce, sort of I mean, that seems to be the most appropriate conduit that we have, right? As opposed to establishing a whole separate,
Well, I didn't mean a committee, I meant just a report to the board, just like in Jeff's update, that he would do a quarterly report. That was what I
oh,
meant.
that would work, yeah.
Yeah,
Like we
You know, or,
successfully implemented this part of
yeah.
the plan.
or every
Okay.
other meeting, or, you know what I mean? So you have some type of, so it's really forefront in our minds and in
And mine,
yours.
yeah.
And yeah,
Good
it just, it's so easy to let the months slip by and,
Superintendent's evaluation seems to be, right? There were some specifics that we put in there,
Yep.
action items that maybe we
Yep.
could just say,
And maybe that's whether you want to do a monthly
Yeah.
update or every other month. That's a good place for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it can definitely be combined with something else, but just so we don't forget those 8 areas of
Yep.
focus.
I agree. Next thing I have is the 18-19 school nurse report. She actually gave it to me at the end of May, and I did not include it in June, so this is January 1st through the end of the school year reports. And then next thing in your packet, I have a couple reminders for the end of July. We have board committee meetings. The 23rd is negotiations with Education Minnesota at 6 o'clock in the district office. Wednesday, the 31st, will be our next meeting with AFSCME at 11 a.m. in the district office. And then August is fairly quiet, other than we have August 1st negotiations with Education Minnesota, policy on August 8th, school forest on the 12th, and then our regular board night will be August 26th. A few other upcoming events, the 19th through August 2nd is our second session of summer camp. The 19th and 20th is our PBIS training, and that will involve administration and staff. And PBIS is in our strategic plan. It's an item in there. The 22nd, I believe that's Thursday, is when we'll do our new staff mentor in-service day. And then our normal staff in-service runs the 26th through the 29th. And I'll send out the schedule to the board. I meet with Staff Development Committee next Tuesday to set the in-service schedule. I'll share that with you. And of note, the 28th will be our open house and orientation night. And then September 3rd is the first day with students for the new school year.
Just a note, Jeff, I think
Yep.
maybe the summer camp is the 29th of July, maybe.
Sure.
Boy, that's
That
a
would
long
be long.
That would be a long one.
I think I'd have some staff kind of jumping up and down right now if they knew I said the 19th. Thank you for that
Like-
correction. Yes, it'd be that last week in July. And then I also threw in, it's posted on our website, but I just thought you would like to have the school calendar. And that's all I have.
On the school calendar, May 28th, the school's open, it's just the last day, or clarify that?
What color is that?
that's
I
a red.
think
Is
it's
that
red.
a red or
I think it looks pink to me.
pink? We need to get a better color on there, I think, more distinct.
Wow, if that's pink, then I'm,
Pink to
okay.
you?
Yeah. There's a couple
Mind you, I
pink
don't see
ones in
any
there,
pinks
yeah.
on here, so
There's a
it's
pink
probably
on the
me.
27th of March
And
too,
January
and the
17th.
17th. That's quarter end.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I thought it was red.
the 7th, so that's the end of the quarter.
Yeah.
And that's the 28th, the 27th.
Yeah, okay, it's pink.
We'll come up with a better color
It
then.
should have been purple.
Purple, I can see this one.
Yeah.
I can't.
I will
boy,
go
that
on, I
looks
don't know
red.
what it looks like on the website, but,
Yeah.
okay.
Fair enough.
But the 28th is
School day. Last
end of the
school,
day,
last
last day for students. And then the graduation is on that Friday. And it's also teacher in service.
It is consistent anyway, they're all the same color, Jeff. The end of the quarters.
Yes, but they also look like school closed holidays too.
Yeah.
So
Consistently confusing.
if you have to ask the difference, then it's
Yeah.
too
Look on the
close.
back.
Well, now that you say it, I do actually see the difference. But
You can
it's,
only see it when they're side by
it-
side.
yeah, exactly. It's like, wow.
fuchsia.
Okay, that's close.
There we go.
All right. I'll make a note for us to go in and have Cindy go in and.
You know, especially on the website, it's like, you know, there's a mismatch.
For those of us color shading challenged people,
That's all I have unless you have any questions or.
hearing none, we will move on to Crystal Olson and the business office.
Just
And
left.
she escaped at a very strategic time.
We'll just have to move on.
Okay. We'll skip over high school principal and go right into athletic director and dean of students, Mr. Chad Hazelton. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, or at least to the microphone.
Or take it to you, wherever you want.
All right, we'll start with our coaching update. All of our fall sports are almost fully staffed. Football is, cross-country is, volleyball still has 2 junior high openings. We do have a couple applicants, though, that we're looking to fill shortly, so that should be taken care of. Coaching also, we talked about the, the Positive Coaching Alliance. And we're set up with 3 workshops for them. I just have to pick a date. We'll do one during the school day, at the end of the school day for the athletes. We'll do one directly after school for all the coaches, and then we'll do one in the evening for the parents. So we just have to pick a date and figure out how to get parents there. So that'll be that. Speaking of parents and meetings, the fall sports meeting will be Tuesday the 30th at 6 o'clock in the auditorium for all of our fall sports. So that'll be taken care of then. Practices start on August 12th for fall sports. So fall sports start August 12th. We have a proposed fee increase schedule that's in your packets. Now, I don't feel strongly about this one way or another. One of the goals was how do we increase revenue and how do we cover costs. We are using an online system to take all of our fees, which is associated with credit card fees. Fees haven't been raised for a while. When they have been raised, the Canadian fees haven't been raised to match our raises. So for the last couple seasons, with the exception of hockey, the Canadian fees have been the same as our fees. Proposed increases is $5 per activity across the board for all of our stuff, and increase the family max by $25 from $500 to $525 for us. Increase the Canadian fees by $25 across the board. And eliminate the season family max of $250. That can be difficult to track, and it can also have an instance where families use it and then don't actually meet their family max. So let's say I had 2 kids playing varsity volleyball, the fee would be $300, and that's all they play is volleyball. I pay $250 for the whole school year instead of a family that would have had more. So it's kind of funky there with the $250. I just like to see the $250 go away and keep the season-long family max. Add a option for free and reduced students to cut their fee by 50%. They'd have to initiate it and show proof, and then we'd reduce their fee by 50%. And set a Canadian family max. Right now, there is no Canadian family max. If a family has 3 kids playing hockey, that's well over $1,000, closer to $1,300. I just think it would be fair to instill something for them as far as that goes on the family max side for the Canadians. So that's all in the board packet there, detailed as far as what the fees would be and where they would be. Questions, comments, I guess?
All prices listed in your board packet are US dollars?
Yes, they're all listed as US dollars.
Chad, do we have anything, or do we have homeschool kids that are participating in any of our programs?
Potentially hockey this year. There's been some interest from a family out, I think out in Roosevelt or Williams, to play hockey this year. Other than that, we haven't had any homeschool kids participating. They would pay our activities fees.
Sure. At the same price as our students do?
Same price as our students, yep.
I think there's some statute, rule, whatever, something about that with the homeschool kids paying very close to the same fee, or if not the same athletic fees.
Yeah, they have to. We have to give homeschooled students in our district that reside in our district the opportunity to try out for our school programs at the same fee rate as our students.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to eliminate the confusion, increasing the family max by $50, eliminating the season family max of $250. Effectively, what you're saying is, let's just put the family max at $300 this year?
No, the family max would be $525 for the season, for the school year, I mean, for the whole school year. I think there was a typo in the packet there. It's supposed to say increase by 25. That's what the board packet says, the sheet in the board packet. The agenda said $50. I changed that. I think it was supposed to say 25.
And so that would make the family max what?
$525 for the school year.
And just eliminate that $250 seasonal family max?
Yes.
Okay. And do you, the Canadian number, I mean, can we throw a number around there? Or?
Yeah, that's why I put a range on there, 800 to 1,000. I have no idea. I just put a number there. So I'm open. Like I said, I don't feel strongly about it either way. As far as what the number is.
What are their options for sports? They're cross country for sure.
Cross country, football, baseball, track, hockey. Hockey's the most expensive, I think at $450 or somewhere right around there. The other ones, as it sits right now, are the same as ours at $150.
So if you had 2 kids in the $450, which we potentially have this coming year, 2 kids at $450 playing hockey, we throw a $900 max on it, those 2 kids could play baseball in the spring, which they probably, one of them would for sure.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 of them probably do play hockey and baseball.
And they don't have a, co-op for basketball?
Nope, they don't have a co-op for basketball, volleyball at this time.
900 seem like a number?
Well, it's, 9 or 1,000,
Were we met with one, was it the Canadian, the Rainy River Athletic?
Corey Smith, yes.
Yep, but we never met again, or did you meet with Guy? He's the one who kind of initially.
Yeah, we never had a second meeting with them.
Okay, are we gonna look at anything?
As far as other co-ops
Like,
or?
well, look at the athletic committee and get their committee together, or talk about anything else?
It didn't sound like they wanted to do anything else. They just wanted their voice heard and wanted to.
Okay.
But I'm looking at at least at the moment, a time in Lake of the Woods school athletics where we're really competing because there are Canadians on our teams, whichever ones you just listed.
In a
You know, we got
couple of
good
our programs,
participation.
yeah.
And so I'd like to have that opportunity to keep that going. You know, it seems like a good deal, and not necessarily look at it so much as a revenue, let's milk them for everything they got and see what kind of a,
Well, it's not so much that. You have to keep in mind, they're not paying any taxes to the school district. That's the reason for having the extra fee. I mean, the school district's getting zero money for them, so to say that we're milking them with any amount is, I think, very excessive. I mean, they're,
but I guess what I'm getting at is if they're involved in one, they look at it financially and say, okay, boy, we put a lot of money in, you know, that's what we can afford athletically at this point. No different than we would consider our own, you know, townspeople. So you look at it and say, okay, they paid the hockey, for instance, we want them in baseball, but, you know, all of a sudden now they're up to, you know, I think you did the math on it, but you could, some of those families are $1,500 a year kind of thing. Hate to chase them out to begin with. I think we could, you know, keep moving this, but I think a family max is appropriate is what I'm getting at.
It may get more participation. It may not have an effect at all. Same thing with the free and reduced lunch piece. It may get more people to apply for free and reduced lunch, and that would eliminate some of our lunch debt that we have if they know that they're going to get a cut on their activities fees. Everything's kind of interconnected in one way or another.
Yep.
So,
What I thought about is it might encourage them to apply for it,
yep.
which wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
oh yeah, the 50% one. I don't think there anybody at all opposed to that. I think that's a good idea.
I'm thinking we try it out and see how it, like you say, you're sort of robbing Peter to pay Paul possibly. Hopefully the whole thing balances out, but at least you get more participation out of it. And that's the eventual goal, keep the kids active and.
Yeah, because I know there was at least one baseball player that didn't come out because he couldn't afford the fee.
So we make no distinction with free and reduced right now.
Nope, there's no benefits at all for free and reduced lunch in our activities fees.
Do we have any way where anybody could, or you probably can't do anything like this anymore, but I know I worked off my driver's ed back in Fergus Falls. I put in, I don't know, work 30 hours or whatever it was or something like that. Anyway, I mean, is that at all possible for anybody if the fee's the problem to do something, or if there's scholarship types in the community available, or create something?
Yeah, I don't know about that. As far as the work study type thing with Crystal, would have to answer that a little bit. I know it's a difficult thing for the auditors to track when we start crediting people for working. It's easier just to pay them,
Yeah.
from what I understand.
Another thought might be if the Lakewood Health Center Foundation might do some scholarships for athletic fees. To me, it's related to community health.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they might say that we'll do so many of, you know, or one hockey, one basketball, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah, I don't know what you would think, but it might be something.
So, from the sounds of it, I think we're all still in agreement, though, the 50% off for anybody signed up for free and reduced lunch. So then it comes down to, and do we have to set it tonight? What are we setting, what do you want to set the Canadian Family Max, if you want to set a Canadian Family Max at?
the family max can be set at a later date if you want, because there's nobody going to reach the Canadian Family Max in the fall season.
Okay.
We only have one or two kids playing football, and that fees would be if we raised it, would be, what does it say on there, 185 or whatever it says.
You know, just in the thought of the Canadian dollar, I think 900 is adequate. That's still quite a bit of money for them. It's at least 100. It's you know, you have to add 30% onto that. And so if you look at it from that perspective, from what's coming out of their Canadian pocket, 900 is
Right, because there'll be 1,000 out of their pocket.
Right, it'd be more than 1,000.
Yeah.
US dollars or Canadian dollars?
US dollars.
Everything's US dollars.
Boy, clarify
Okay, so it sounds like we're kind of looking at $900.
I'm good with that. As long as it's US dollars.
Although we can't make decisions in the working session.
No,
I
no,
think.
but
No, but
We're
it's
discussing
a
it.
good time to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is on the board agenda for approval.
Yep.
Like, if we are ready, I guess.
All right, any more discussion, any more information, anything else you want to add, or
No, I think I covered it.
any other input? And we'll move on to buildings and grounds.
All right, so this is just gonna be kind of a quick update. One of the big things is the summer list with all the projects has been dwindling down very, very quickly. The guys are doing an amazing job at getting these projects done and getting ready for the upcoming school year. One of the other ones, the big projects, was playground is now completed and opened and ready to go. All the repairs were done and it has the new chips underneath it and stuff, and it really, really looks good. One of the things we already did talk about is the school forest. All the trails have been bush hog, opened up, trees cut, and ready to go for people to walk out there at any time. The commons, the gym, east hallways, they're all done. The floors have been refinished, washed, cleaned, scrubbed. And tomorrow, they're gonna be starting on all the west halls. We're gonna be shutting down the west end for 2 days for them to refinish the floor. Once that's done, all the flooring, I believe, is done in the building. And the other big project we got going is audio replacement is starting in the auditorium this week. So that's about all the updates I got. Any questions?
Who does the audio update? Do you have a subcontractor?
A subcontractor's coming in to do that, yes.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Going once, going twice,
Thank you.
moving on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Community ed, transportation.
I'll start with transportation. Last week, me and John Bodko attended the Train the Trainer conference down in Brooklyn Park, and learned a lot of new things, and got a few more questions. But there's some new laws that are out there, and I thought pretty much everything they presented as changes was positive for us in rural Minnesota. They made it okay in certain circumstances to use four-way lights. So if we're on Highway 11, we can get off and use our four-way lights and not impede the traffic. Before, if we were to pick up in a turn lane, it was illegal to put your blinker on and re-enter traffic, and now they made that legal again, so we don't have to turn and take 4 more miles to go around. But there's going to be we're going to need some new policy updated to kind of make these new laws work, and on the next meeting we'll present that to you guys. Our biggest takeaway, the thing they really stressed, was hands-free. And August 1st, that's across the board, hands-free, there's no cell phones unless it's an emergency situation in the vehicle. So if we got a GPS out, it has to be set prior to the trip, and it can be up and mounted, or you can be listening to, well, not on the bus, but if you guys, you listen to your music, but it has to be done before you get on with your trip. So the next couple weeks, we're going to meet with the Transportation Committee and give the state of the department and recommendations for next year and going forward. So next board meeting, you guys can take some action. As for community ed, baseball and softball is ramping up. Baseball is done. Softball, they have their last game today, or tonight out there. And I'm gonna meet with Mr. Hazelton, hopefully this week yet. And I wanna get all of our fall classes and activities online so we can register and pay online for our community ed events. I updated the fee schedule for the weight room and pretty much just offered a 3-month, 6-month, and year-long membership. And so far, the ones that I've heard about it so far, we're pretty happy. We already got a year-long membership out of it, so I thought that was very good. And lastly, the Prairie Fire Children's Theater is coming up in August. So other than that, September is going to get busy again. So any questions?
I think it's gonna be Alice in Wonderland.
When are the dates for that?
12th through the 17th.
It's the 17th, the evening.
16th, evening, 17th.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to CC and food service. Got anything? Uh-oh.
Well, Cindy had the deal on food policy, so you all received a food policy.
It was in the package.
Yep.
Was there any questions?
Any questions on that? And that will go to the policy committee. That got that, yeah.
Okay.
And then the other thing I was gonna add was, we're now going to be doing reduced applications online. I'll be doing a training with our, with Region 1, and they will, the community will be able to put their applications online. I'll still have to include them, but they can do them online, and then it'll come back to me, so.
Nope, the sports registration can have a link to the.
That was something that was discussed at the strategic planning, was looking at ways to encourage people and families to sign up. You know, so we'll be looking at when open house starts up, what we can do to entice and encourage people, even if they don't think they qualify, at least get them to fill out the application and see if we can get more people to qualify, because I don't think we're capturing all of them.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what is preventing people, is it? And maybe the online application will help, just some, I don't know.
Yeah, that could be
more
part of it.
discreet. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a hindrance or not.
Well, and one thing that maybe would be an advantage for that online is to offer like a night or something that they could, there could be a computer workshop set up for them with some help there, so they could do it online.
That's what Mr. Nelson was talking about.
Is
Have
it,
it set up when they come in and.
Right.
is it available in alternative formats as well?
Right, the pre-reduced applications will be going out,
Yeah.
I was waiting for the improvement here, for the meal prices, and then I'll start making copies and send that out. And then, in there, it'll be the directions on how to do the online. And then, I think he mentioned having something at the open house with a computer where you could, set up, and you could. And I would be available to help them with anything.
Lead an application, get a free pool pass. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Can put a link to that.
No, I was serious.
On our
Yeah.
registration.
No, that was a
No,
good
I was
idea,
serious.
Lloyd.
All right. Anything else, Cece? We'll move on to other, and I guess I'll add a couple of other things. So you may have noticed construction on the county road that's referred to as the school road is commencing, and very shortly here, maybe even right now, you won't be able to go south out of the parking lot. I mean, you can, but you're gonna come across about a 5-foot hole in the road all the way across because they're replacing a culvert. sometime this week. The rest of it's gonna get milled up, going all the way up to Highway 11. You'll still be able to get in and out, but it'll just be that rough grooved pavement for, probably like that for a few weeks. 1 or 2 weeks. They're supposed to start paving August 19th is the scheduled date, and the school supposed to get it first. Oh, one other thing, and I didn't bring it up to anything else because I just remembered it. One thing that might be useful with Barry Westerland passing away, it's kind of thrown our driver's ed program into chaos, and as far as I know, there's nobody looking at having a private thing. Rachel is going through Roseau County, Roseau School District. They were nice enough to kind of at least pick her up, and so she could keep moving with her driver's ed. Is that something we want to look at doing through the school here? So something to consider for the staff, yeah?
I did get 2 inquiries. The guy from International Falls, he was asking about setting up a program in Adelaide that was just kind of absorb this area. And Don Kraus also talked about potentially starting that up and potentially maybe doing it with the ed. So nothing really has gone with that, but
Okay.
there's been a couple feelers.
Okay. I guess my thoughts, I know in Fergus Falls, and at least at the time when we were there, the driver's ed was through the school, and quite frankly, I kind of like that idea, but I don't know if it's feasible, if there's insurance issues or anything else, but it'd be kind of nice to have that continuity. Then you don't have to worry about somebody retiring or going on vacation, that sort of thing, that it would kind of continue, so. Food for thought, just bringing it up. That's all I've got for other, unless somebody else has
We
another.
must be showing our age, because it was
Another
in the
position
school
for
when I
yourself.
was a student too.
The challenge would be staffing
Yep.
And the cost.
and the cost.
We'd have to see how Roseau's
Yeah.
doing it. And I think, does War Road do it as well? I forgot why we went all the way to Roseau. I think it was just because it was
There's
convenient.
somebody in Warroad
Yeah.
certainly doing it.
I think Warren does theirs through the
Okay. Yeah, when they say through the school, I think it's
Community
community ed or something else kind of under the umbrella.
Okay.
So, all right, anybody need a break?
Thank you.
Did you want to give Chris one up? No, you
Nope.
don't have anything, okay.
Figured we could.
Before we start,
Go right
I
ahead.
think we'll just update the board on what's going on. We don't have any details. Cindy, but unofficially we heard that there's an accident on Lake Road.
Oh,
It's not like her not here, so we're worried about her and thinking about her.
who was?
Cindy,
Cindy? Oh, no.
We don't have any information, but
Okay.
Okay.
so that's what's going on.
Okay. All right. Well, we will, according to Verizon, we will officially call the order of the meeting at 7:09. This time we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need approval of the agenda with the following changes. To be added to the consent agenda, appoint Karis Musker as part-time enrichment coordinator and read 180. Also appoint Emily Mashek as elementary media specialist. On to the regular agenda, approve breakfast and lunch prices for the 2019-2020 school year. Need a motion and a second.
A motion to present, or to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion by Lyon,
I'll second it.
second by Bertram. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, all in favor. The consent agenda, we will be approving the minutes, approving invoices, personnel resignations, retirements, and appointments. We have the appointment of Natalie Hepner as social studies teacher, appointment of Brian, and everyone figure it out, we're not sure of the pronunciation. Sater?
Seder?
Beef.
Seder?
Yeah,
He signs your check as beef.
yeah, saw that on the email. You said Sater?
Sather.
Sather?
Sather.
Okay, Sather. As Phy Ed teacher and health teacher. Appoint Karis Musker as part-time enrichment coordinator and Read 180. Appoint Emily Mashak as elementary media specialist. Need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ellis,
I would second that.
second by Lyon. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion's unanimous and approved. Any board presenters? Don't see any. Written communications? Got nothing. Old business? Need a motion and a second to approve the second reading of policy 722, public data request.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Bertram,
Second.
second by Lyon. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve the second reading of policy 602, school calendar and school day.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Trask,
I'll second.
second by Ellis. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve the athletic fee schedule. And do we want to have this one in here? That's the one we were just talking about. Will this set it at 900?
Well,
There's,
it's more than one thing.
yeah, there's options, so we'd have to outline
There are a number of, well, this isn't even, we'd have to go into the board packet that has every. What do you want to do, the superintendent? See how I did that? Just
How did he present the Canadian Family Max in there?
He just said 850 to 9.
yeah, he gave us the range.
But I mean, he didn't put it specifically in there.
right.
Yeah,
Should we table that part of it until next meeting? So that we can approve, because otherwise you're gonna have people paying that fee here before the next meeting, right? I mean, those are
Yeah.
Not the
football and
family
stuff.
max.
not the nobody's gonna hit the family max. That's what he's saying. We could delay on the
But I'm talking, we
Canadian
have to
family
approve
max.
the fee schedule as
Right.
presented,
Yes.
so we can leave the Canadian part of that out.
Well, there was,
Why wouldn't we include it? We talked about.
yeah, kind of the
900.
5 questions on our working session, or the 5 numbers there that outline that.
It's what's in your handouts in the
Yeah.
board packet. Does everyone have a copy of that with them? or-
No, I might left my computer at home.
I don't think we need individual copy. Do we
Yeah.
need individual copies?
No.
Just
Put it up on the thing
Just,
here.
There
I'm
you
just
go.
gonna say, just
Perfect.
state it, and I think that's good. Oops, might wanna have it included in the motion, huh?
yeah, we'll maybe have to redefine that a little bit.
Yeah. Motion to approve it with these.
The
Fees, as-
listed fees, yeah, it's not on there. The Canadian Family Max is not on.
Family max paid per year, 525 Canadian, that's 1,000 question mark.
Do we want to put on the 900?
I think.
Want to just take care of that all in one fell swoop?
I'll put it up there so everyone take a look at it.
Yep.
Why is it not coming?
I can hear
It's
it.
probably warming up.
Blinking. No, it's not blinking. There.
Do you guys want, I can look at hers if you wanna look at this one. These here.
Could just read them. Do you have a copy of it, Woody? You said?
I believe we have.
You don't have to give it to me, I'm just for
I've got
the,
one on
for
I've
the,
got one on my computer.
oh, yeah. There, we're coming up.
We're gonna make that at 900.
Yep.
That would be the only thing that would be changed, would be the 1,000 with the question mark behind it, right, on the Canadian max.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
And then removing that maximum per family per season. It says eliminate, but I think you just
Yeah, just not include that.
not include that.
There we go.
There we go.
Thank you.
All right, my next step after plugging it is get the hammer out.
Okay, I think we're all okay with the numbers listed.
Yes.
And we'll put 900 in for the family max. How do we word that?
For Canadian.
I'd make a
Yep.
motion to approve the
As presented
proposed 2019-2020
with setting
fee schedule.
Canadian family.
Yep, with the Canadian Family Max.
Approve that
Is the,
as presented.
Is the 50% off or free and reduced included in that? Is it noted in there?
Gate fees or something.
It should be. If not, I will amend my motion.
Add that.
Isn't technology great?
I think you already did that.
And I would amend my motion
I'm with you.
You
to,
push the,
when they get this.
Next one down. Check underneath. Do you have an adapter? There, just to have one. Nope, it's one piece.
Well, something's unplugged way back here. That blue one.
Nope, that's nothing.
Okay. Please. There.
Don't move. Is there anything, I don't think there's anything that we need. We're all in favor of, we saw the numbers. So it's gonna be, to approve the athletic fees schedule as proposed,
With the $900.
setting the Canadian
Canadian.
family maximum at $900.
Yep, and also, I don't know if we have to have this in, I would amend my motion to include the charge-free and reduced lunch students at 50% of the fee.
Okay, so that wasn't in there?
No,
it's listed on the form here.
Okay.
Is
It
it?
says free and reduced discount, 50% families must initiate.
I must be looking
Where do you
at the
see
wrong
that?
thing.
It's on the second page as you scroll down.
I don't need to see it.
This is what's,
We believe you. We're just making sure that we're,
see, it's the second page.
I still don't see it. Sorry,
I just read it.
I'm sorry.
I don't see it either, but maybe
was
I'm
it farther
looking
down?
Oh, that second page.
This is what's in the board packet.
Oh. Yep, okay.
That's right on the shared drive.
We'll say it's on Jeff's, the version on Jeff's board packet
Well, I
is the
bet,
one we're
because
going
I
with.
was in the working session, so maybe,
Yep, I'm in the,
yep,
board
In the
packet.
Okay,
there's two, yep.
okay, so we're gonna go through motion to approve the athletic fee schedule as presented, setting the Canadian family max at $900 per year.
Yes, that's
Sound
what I
good?
said.
There it is.
That's the motion right there.
And I'll second
I saw
that.
it. Yep.
Yep. Okay, thank
I'm
you.
gonna change this to
900.
We'll go with motion by Trask and second by Ellis before we lose the picture.
That's right. That's a rough one.
There we go.
Any further discussion? I think we're set, right? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. All right, let's hope they're all not like that.
That was hard work.
Yeah, that was a lot of work.
Now you can't get it to
Now it works All right, I need a motion and a second to approve the 2019-2020 milk bid.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ellis,
Second by Lyons.
second by Lyon. Any discussion on that?
And my bad, no doubt, I was not here last year. Did we have some discussion on the prices and things that came up? Where did
We
we?
had a rousing discussion about the difference between bags. It was obvious that the milk providers did not want to handle bags, at least at this time.
And it sounded like they
twice
made
as
it financially.
Significantly
Yeah.
more expensive, like $100 a week, I think
Yep.
is what the
Yeah.
number, I
It
remember.
was huge.
And that's before you kick in the cost to
The other,
Of the-
yeah,
everything else.
that's
That
what
was
I,
just the milk.
And they brought up a good point that they said that the milk cartons could be recyclable. That's something we'll have to look into, but I mean, it's a possibility. It's a paper product, albeit with food and wax and other stuff, but
So that's something
Yeah.
to take to the committee.
Yep. I think it was logistics of making the change this year
yeah.
to
sure.
having glasses and all that
Oh,
stuff was
yeah.
just.
We can look at the recycling and cartons and separate those out.
Okay,
So
thank you.
there's quite a bit of discussion.
Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve the 2019-2024 Lake of the Woods Strategic Plan.
I'll make that motion.
Motion
I
by
would second
Trask, second by Line. He's in Fuego tonight. All in favor signify, I guess, any discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve the engagement letter with Edie? Ide Bailey, for the 2018-2019 audit.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ellis. Just because I said something, you can still say
Oh.
second it.
Second it.
No,
Second
but
by
not the
Trask.
financial person. I think the financial people should step
Okay.
to the forward.
Any discussion on that?
I thought that was an expensive number. It seems to
Yeah,
me
it was
that when we were doing the previous audit,
It went down this year.
that's what I thought it was the sales pitch.
Yeah.
But I
It
thought
did
it
go
was
down.
It was
14,000.
more last year because it was initial year.
I think it was 17,600 last year.
Yeah, we had like-
15,300 this year.
But in comparison to, what was the name of the prior company?
Brady Martin's.
Brady Martin's. I thought they were a $14,000 audit. Isn't that right?
And that's what we got.
And that was 2 years ago though, so would it, I mean, imagine it would go up every year, so.
Yeah.
Are you happy with the audit people?
Very much so.
All right.
My understanding is this audit firm is more helpful as far as ways to improve your processes, and that's really important for an audit.
I thought the board report that we got was excellent.
Yes.
So I would say at this time, the first year, I would say it's worth a little extra cost.
Okay, and we did pay for that niceness. I
Yeah.
mean, they did spend 3 days here, you know,
Yeah.
making things happen.
And we
They
do,
come in September.
and we do ask them to come and present as well, and that's an extra fee.
I think they're coming for 2 days.
3.
They're coming 3 days.
They'll be here 3 days, Tuesday through Thursday.
Okay.
So you're saying get what you pay for, okay?
Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2019-2020-001 for the Minnesota State High School League membership for 2019-2020.
I would make motion to be an NSHSL member.
Motion by Lyon,
I'll second.
second by Ellis. Any discussion on that one? I think that's a slam dunk. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Need a motion and a second to approve the breakfast and lunch prices for the 2019-2020 school year.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ellis,
I'll second it.
second by Lyon. Any discussion on that? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. We got any other business going on? In that case, at 7:25, officially adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Nice job.